Greetings, Proxy. You're here helping the independent investigation team lead with the high-risk ethereals? Perfect. I'll be the one declassifying the Outpost files we have for you. As a quick disclaimer, it should be noted that we here at Scott Outpost have attempted to learn and document as much as we can, but have come up short on some data sometimes. Any behaviors or patterns you observe on your own, let us know, but this is as much information as we could compile ourselves. Good luck out there, Proxy. Welcome to the Outpost Chronicles. My name is Savadra, and today I will be outlining the mechanics of the Miasmic Priest, Overseer Mevorakh, in a comprehensive and informative way to help the broader player base understand and improve. This video comes with a lot of information, and it is advised while watching this video to keep an open mind with regards to your approach to improvement. While I aim to be as inclusive to as much of the player base as possible, this video may better be suited for those who will take the information and try to actively improve their gameplay in the moment with the tips I provide. It's very dense, and I suggest that you come back and rewatch this over time to get a fuller understanding of these mechanics in different situations as you come across them. I want to take a quick moment to give special shoutouts to a few fellow proxies for their help in my making of this guide. First, Nats for reviewing my boss mechanics outline and ensuring I didn't miss anything, as well as proofreading. Ethan for providing some combat footage for agents I don't have access to, and for proofreading and feedback. Flossin' on you for encouragement to make this video, and proofreading and feedback. Thirsty Blood for inspiration to make this video, and proofreading and feedback. All of their links can be found in the description. Without any further ado, let's get straight to it. The Miasmic Priest, Overseer Mevorakh, is the Exaltus boss first countered at the end of the 2.0 main story where clouds embrace the dawn. I will be referring to her as just Mevorakh going forward. Contrary to every other main chapter boss up to this point, she only has one distinct phase and health bar, but introduces the new Miasma shield mechanic alongside her other standard mechanics. We will be going in depth with her general moveset, special skills, and unique states including Stagger and Impair and the Miasma Shield, the combat procedure, stage mechanics and deadly assault, and lastly the desired matchup to counter this high-risk enemy. Starting from the general moveset, these are attacks that Mevorakh will do at random and a majority of the time outside of the Miasma Shield state. I will include visual cues during this section so that you may distinct each move with their main telegraphs, as well as their relation to indicators, so you can learn for situations like high-risk ether activity in the Task Force investigation and the Endless Battle Tower. A simple sword flurry that has some slight cooldown between swings. These swings will grant you infinite assist points and are able to be defensive assisted and evasive assisted. This attack usually strikes up to 4 times, and is then followed by one of 2 finishers. First is a heavy slash that does not grant infinite assist points, but is still defensive and evasive assistable. The second is a dagger throw that throws up to 3 daggers at the player, and is only evasive assistable. A block stance that absorbs all instances of damage, daze, and anomaly buildup for about 3 seconds. This attack is easily identifiable by its sound of deflecting hits, and can be interrupted with higher level interrupt attacks like EX Specials and Ultimate. A large single sword swing that follows a 2-second animation delay and has no flash indicator. There's no real subtlety to this one either. My best advice here is to listen for the voice line grunt that is supposed to telegraph the swing. At least in the English voice dubbing, this grunt is slightly early to the actual swing. In the Japanese dubbing, it sounds much better aligned, but still doesn't have a great tell outside of that. Feel free to let other proxies know in the comments if either of the other languages are better in this regard. Lastly, a defensive and evasive assistable cross slash, which creates a lingering projectile that does have a hitbox immediately, and then flies away from the priest in the direction it was spawned. Should you choose to dodge counter this attack instead, be wary of this as the initial hitbox lingers after the launch. Let's now move on to the special mechanics. There are two primary mechanics to worry about, and one leads very nicely into the other. The first being the Miasma Shield. At some point halfway into the fight, either through damage dealt or time remaining in Deadly Assault, Mevorakh will teleport to the center and summon a fully lit Mural, then enter the Miasma Shield state. During this state, Mevorakh will cycle through all 4 of her special skills, which we will talk about next, will move and attack faster, be intangible between attacks, as well as gain an 80% defense boost and a minus 25% damage taken modifier. The shield itself is not impenetrable. You can do damage through the shield, and the shield also decays naturally at about 1% per second until 10% remaining. Most attacks will also decay the shield slowly, but dodge counters, defensive assists, and ultimates will deplete it at faster rates, up to 25% for the higher rarity skills. Once the shield is broken, Mevorakh will take one huge instance of purified damage, which is a fixed amount of around 15% of the enemy health bar in normal fights. For Deadly Assault, as of the posting of this video, this amounts to around 3% of the total concatenated health, or around 1800 damage score equivalent. In addition, agents will restore around 50% energy or adrenaline. Be aware though, if you purify the shield with an ultimate, that move will not be gaining decibels during its duration, so it's advised not to use ultimates near the end of the shield phase, or else you may miss out on decibels because of how off-field agents generate. That is a majority of the specifics for the Miasma Shield itself. If you want a more detailed breakdown about the shield properties and how agents interact with it, there is an excellent video by OK Muzzy that describes this exact thing, link in the description. Now on to the second mechanic, which will tie into both the normal and the Miasma Shield states, the Priest's Mural. You might have noticed that sometimes Mevorakh will go into a summoning stance and a mural will appear over her. If you look at the mural itself, you can see that it's a circular painting divided into 4 sections, each with different symbols depicting a special attack that Mevorakh will do shortly following these mural summons. She will always do these summons in counterclockwise order, going from the green section to the red, to the purple, and lastly to the orange, and when summoning the Miasmic Shield, all 4 are glowing at once. The first skill is the green special skill, the Winged Sword. After summoning this stance, Mevorakh will fly at you with her sword stretched ahead of her, changing direction up to 2 times before ending with a heavy slash. We have not observed Mevorakh doing more than 1 turn in her normal state most of the time, but almost always doing a second turn during the Miasma Shield. The second skill is the red special skill, the Flame. After summoning this stance, Mevorakh will raise her sword to the sky and channel a wave of miasmic energy beams along the ground in small circular explosions, indicated on the ground by a ring that expands outwards to indicate the explosion time. She summons a line of up to 5 explosions in front of her directly under the active agent, if she's within reach. During the Miasma Shield, the attack now spawns 3 spokes of glass in front of and at diagonals relative to the agent's position. The third skill is the purple special skill, the Twin Swords. After summoning this stance, Mevorakh will engage in a 10/strike combo that will grant infinite assist points throughout its full duration. This attack is one of the easiest ways to get both decibels with the vast number of defensive assists you do, as well as performance points in Deadly Assault. The Sword Rush I break down into 3 distinct phases. The first 6 slashes are very quick and back to back. When Mevorakh turns, she delays the prompt for the 7th slash. Then lastly, after the 7th slash, she flies up and does 3 downward strikes to end the combo. This attack is the same for both normal and Miasma shield states. It should be noted that the Daze bar will not trigger stun when it is maxed out during this attack, unless you trigger Purify in the Miasma shield phase as well. The 4th and final skill is the orange special skill, the Sun. Mevorakh absorbs miasmic energy and creates a short double blast within close proximity. Usually once she gets to the point of using this skill, she seems to spam it out, but it is not very often in Deadly Assault scenarios you'd see this happen. You will likely experience this more in high ether activity explorations for the task force investigation, and potentially in higher levels of the limited battle tower once we have collected enough data to transcript her there. That covers everything in terms of what Mevorakh does on her own, but there is one more thing to be talked about before we move on to the combat procedure, the Impair state. Mevorakh has an impaired state that follows defensive assisting her moves that grant infinite assist points, namely her short Flurry and her purple twin swords Flurry attacks. The data files, specifically the condition for the Deadly Assault, denote that the performance point stage condition is 3 defensive assists within 3 seconds to activate a special stagger state. This, however, is not the behavior noticed in every application. For the short Flurry, she can do up to 4 swipes before her heavy swing finisher, and only by parrying all 4 attacks do you then trigger the impaired state. For the purple twin swords as well, you will get performance points for 3 parries, but from my own personal testing, the impaired state does not trigger if you don't parry at least 7 of the 10 total prompts. Fulfilling these requirements for the impaired state does not trigger impaired immediately either, and Mevorakh will only enter Impair after the attack is finished while Mevorakh is in the normal phase, or after the Miasma shield is depleted in Miasma state. Lastly, it should be noted that if you trigger Impair at the beginning of a stun, the 30% damage multiplier does stack with the standard stun damage multiplier of 150%, totaling up to 180% for about 5 seconds with no further modifications. Onwards to the combat procedure. As the combat encounter starts, Mevorakh will always begin the fight with the entry animation, followed by the immediate summon of the green winged sword skill, which gives you ample time to get your first agent some minor damage and early resources built up before the first attack. After this first attack, it is added to the complete pool of her basic attacks at random, and sometimes with delay. As mentioned prior, throughout combat, Mevorakh will summon all of the special skills in counterclockwise order on the Mural, starting from green, to red, to purple, and lastly to orange. Mevorakh will only do the full stance for summoning once. After each skill is summoned, they can be done at any time without the summoning telegraph, and are then added to the complete pool of random attacks. It is important to be wary of this in high-risk situations such as the task force and battle tower. Mevorakh retains her collective pool of attacks throughout most of the fight, including after recovering from stun. This attack pool only resets after they summon the Miasma shield and it has been purified. After purification, Mevorakh will do the Mural summons again in order to re-add the special skills back to the pool of random attacks. In Deadly Assault, as of the posting of this video, the stage condition entails that after a Mural summon, Mevorakh gains 10% Anomaly buildup res, but also takes 30% more crit damage from attacks. This effect stacks twice, making it 20% Anomaly res and 60% extra crit damage respectively. This effect also only resets after the Miasmic shield is purified, which means this effect carries throughout stun windows beforehand as well. Generally speaking, this effect will be active for almost all of the fight duration. As an overall strategy, it is greatly advised to use at least 2 defensive assist agents so that you can get as many impairs out of Mevorakh as possible. Vital View isn't useless, but it does not contribute to any stagger, lowers your opportunities to deplete the Miasma shield, and is strictly excluded from the performance points condition in Deadly Assault. It is also greatly advised to use standard crit DPS agents over Anomaly DPS agents, due to the near permanent crit damage increase in Deadly Assault, but there are a large variety of options for this matter. In fact, let's go over to the Mevorakh matchups right now. Before diving further into the matchups, I want to remind you, Proxy, to keep an open mind with your playstyle and approach to improvement when it comes to fighting bosses in endgame game modes. This matchup section is meant to outline the proper strengths of each recommended agent when played against Mevorakh, and inversely, why other certain agents will show signs of struggle. None of this is meant to be taken empirically. If you so desire, you can attempt to clear with whomever you please. But for the highest chances of success, this section is here only as a suggestion. Mevorakh is an ether weak and ice resistant ethereal, which means that we want to use primarily ether agents. Alongside the conditions for Deadly Assault, we also want to use crit DPSs if possible. This means 2 total agents fill both of these conditions in ideal scenarios: Yixuan and Zhuyuan. Yixuan's strength is that she deals more damage through the Miasma shield thanks to the Rupture Agent specialty ignoring all defense, thereby the defense boost buff from the Miasma shield. Zhuyuan's strength is that with good resource management, you can circumvent the disadvantages of the Miasma shield even without Rupture Agents, and this means that Zhuyuan's stun burst playstyle is largely unaffected, if only slightly delayed by the Miasma shield mechanic. You do still want to use 2 other defensive assist agents, however, so the Astra Nicole core combo is not recommended. Other element neutral crit DPSs, such as Evelyn, Soldier Zero Anby, are also very good options, and even lower end options such as Nekomata, Billy, Anton, and Corrin will get the job done. Surprisingly enough as well, despite the element resistance to ice, pre-buff and especially post-buff Ellen, as well as Hugo, are both options that work out thanks to the near permanent 60% crit damage in the Deadly Assault stage mechanics, as well as the Task Force gears for Ellen being generally very good, and the other gears benefiting both of them overall. Vivian, despite being an Anomaly agent and thereby affected by the Anomaly buildup res, works quite well thanks to her constant corruption application, which will interrupt Mevorakh's actions very frequently. Most other Anomaly agents also work fine. Yanagi, Bernice, Jane, Piper are all usable matchups. Despite all you would think about the double up on ice resistance and extra Anomaly buildup res, Miyabi may be a very hard matchup and has her struggles in this fight, but she does surprisingly better than even I expected. Miyabi is still very strong, but the Anomaly buildup greatly hinders her Fallen Frost generation and Frostburn damage, as well as the boss being unfreezable, which means Shatter always procs instantly. I assumed this meant Mono Ice would be extremely bad to use, and it kinda was, but I still managed 20k with her anyway, cause it's just that good. I wouldn't be surprised if her other viable Disorder teams were able to clear better with relative ease. In terms of support options, any of the supports and stunners work depending on your playstyle, but due to the ice resistance as prior mentioned, Lycon and Sokaku are the worst of the potential options. There is one more axis of play to add though, that being that Mevorakh is actually a pretty agile enemy, She moves around quite a lot, attacks very frequently, and does not sit still, even while attacking. The most you get in terms of standstills are during the Mural summons. For this reason, and purely because of mobility issues on some agents, it may be even harder to play some agents like Kaleda, Korin, Ben, Evelyn, or Sokaku in their respective roles when on-fielded for extended periods of time. And this concludes the comprehensive Mevorakh boss guide. As an afterword, and to break a bit of the character I was putting on, I want to say thank you if you made it this far. I spent around 3 weeks editing this video, amidst problems with DaVinci Resolve, crashing my computer after little use, which made sticking with this very annoying, and I hope I can resolve that soon, if not, switch to a different editor to make things easier. I want to make more of these, and I know I don't have great editing skills at the moment, but if you found this helpful, please do leave a comment with what you thought about the video format. Going forward, I want to refine this for all of the boss tier enemies in the game. If you want to see more from me or talk to me directly, I mostly stream on Twitch at the same username as this channel, twitch.tv/Savadra. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day or night whenever you're watching, and good luck, proxies. Take care.